So, let's start shooting. So, first of all, since we have it over here, let's import the crosshair manager from the tool manager. Okay. Now, for me to install this, I need to tag me as a Patreon, so give me a second. Okay, so this will import me a prefab for crosshairs. We're just going to use the cross one, not the triangle one. And since we're also here, let's import the bullet lines because they're going to be handy, showing us what we actually shoot. And let's also import the object pooler because we're going to use it anyway later. Okay, so just like that, as you can see, we pretty much saved a lot of work we have done before. If you do not have access to the tools, just watch them through any of the other series. We did this on HIT, we did this on the MGS-like. HIT is available for everyone, so just watch that if you are not a patron. And you know what, I'm just going to also import the global settings because we're going to be using them later. So for now, we're just going to use a few things. Awesome. So let's drop the crosshairs in, but before we do that, let's create a canvas. For our canvas, I'm going to change the scale with screen size, and I'm going to set the size to the resolution we're using, which is 1920 by 1080. Then I'm just going to take the crosshairs cross and drop it inside, and you can see right on the center we have that. We have our crosshair, and I'm simply just going to add a shadow onto this so it looks a little bit cleaner. Okay, I think we can also change the, well, for now that this will do just fine, so whatever. Maybe let's raise the shadow a little bit. Yeah, so this will give us access to a crosshair. We can already do some changes to this, but I'm going to change the logic for this a little bit, and I'm going to create an init method, and I'm going to also just assign a controller to this. So on the init method, I'm going to be passing the controller, and inside the update, I know where I'm always going to be using independent update, so I can just remove this entirely and remove this. So I'm going to be taking values from the controller and adding them as spread over here. Okay, on awake, or yeah, on awake, we could just set up the default spread right away. Then let's see, we can get the value from moving and moving. So we're basically going to get the absolute value of controller dot horizontal plus controller dot vertical plus controller dot mouse x plus controller dot mouse y. Okay, we're basically getting everything, and we now have a spread value. And let's try just adding that as spread. Okay, hit play. I think I'm just going to leave it at that. We do need to assign we do need to run the init first, of course, and because we are accessing the controller, we're going to say if controller is null, then simply return. Don't do anything. On my controller then, in start, I'm actually going to make this public void init because it's going to become useful later when we have multiplayer, because we won't be using the start method because we're going to be a little bit async. So once we're here, if this is the local state, which for now it's going to be, find the crosshair singleton dot init and pass this. And just like that, we actually have the crosshairs involved to this. Okay, default spread, I think we have a little bit too much. Okay, I think we did something wrong with the default spread. So let's delete that. Okay, and you can see with movement, and it will go back. I think it's pretty much how much we need this. So yeah, let's leave it at that. So let's start shooting. First of all, I'm going to create a script that I'm going to call manager, and I'm going to create this as manager, or let's call this ballistics. Although it's just going to be a simple recast for now, and so due to the nature of the game, it's not really going to be, we don't really need advanced physics for this, to be honest. So this is not going to be a behavior class. This is just going to be a static class where we can access from anywhere, and we're going to have a public static void recast bullet. Okay, we need to know two things. We need to know vector3, the origin, and the direction for now. Then it probably will make a little bit more sense if we also know the owner and so on for later on. We can also pass a callback. So what happens when we hit somebody and stuff like that. But for now, we're just going to focus on doing a simple recast. So we're going to say recast hit if physics dot recast origin direction. Maximum distance could go depending on the weapon you're using, but again, the nature of the game, it's pretty straightforward what we're going to be using. So I'm just going to say go about 100. Yeah, okay, and then we can also add layer masks, and if we want to trigger colliders and stuff like that. For now, this should just be fine. So we now just shoot something, and with hit.point, we actually know where we hit. So with this in mind, and since we've included the object pooler, we can add the bullet lines. So since we know this is going to be somebody shooting, let's say, yeah, bullet game object, we're going to go through object pooler, get object, and I'm going to call this bullet line. Okay, then we're going to have a vector3 hit position, and we're going to add origin plus direction by 100, and that will be the hit position. We already have the starting position, which is the origin. Okay, so if we hit something over here, then that hit position will be hit dot point. Delete that. Then let's get our bullet line. Let's do get component in children, bullet line, and bullet line dot set positions, origin, and hit position. As you can see, we're not really checking anything else. We will check here if we hit a controller and so on, but we will do this a little bit later. Let's just focus on doing this thing. Now, on the controller, let's collapse all of that. And let's see, void handle input. Let's do void handle shooting. Okay, now we're going to do, for now, well, technically we should have a bool that says we're shooting, so public bool is shooting equals true. And if is shooting, then we need to do ballistics, recast bullet. The origin for this will be a camera position. The direction will be a camera position dot forward for now. And the order, of course, is this, but we're not really doing anything. So when shooting, how do we shoot is we say input get mouse button down 0. So if you're holding the left mouse button down, you're actually shooting. We need to set up a little bit the object pooler first with the bullet lines so we can actually shoot. So let's see, we have our resources. I'm going to move the resources folder up here and we're going to use object pooler. As you can see, we have the first one, which I'm going to call bullet line. I do have the prefab for the bullet line and it's here. I'm going to move this aside and here's the bullet line. I'm going to set a budget of 20. Now I'm going to hit play and we're going to test this, but there's going to be one problem. The cool cats among you will already know that. And yeah, we forgot to assign the handle shooting. Oops. We're going to drop this after handle input. So the cool cats among you will know the problem, and that is, well, we also forgot to open the bullet line. Oops. Okay, let's see what we're doing wrong. Bullet line is closed again. Let's see, object pooler. Okay, there we go. We cannot see it because we are right inside it, so that's why we cannot see it. We will fix that. Okay, but you can see. But another thing that you can check is we kind of want to use a burst shooting. Of course, we're going to be using machine guns and stuff like that, so we're going to change that to get mouse button. But this will lead to another problem, and that is if I keep holding down the attack, I can shoot like this, which of course is a mistake because we are basically shooting on every frame that we have. Okay, and of course that means we simply do not have, that means we simply do not have a fire rate. So to do that, we can actually start using items for that. So I'm going to import the items framework. It's free, you can import it as well. and I'll show you what we're going to do with this. So let's close that. Now with the items framework, we have to create an items manager. We actually already have it, which is here, but we can also create items. Inside the resources folder, I'm going to create a new object, a new folder, which I'm going to call items. Okay, then in here I'm going to create a new item. I have already set up an item scriptable object, which I'm going to call test weapon. Let's open this up, and we can do public integer, well actually public float fire rate. We can also assign this to maybe 0.1f, and we can also do bullets, or we can do max bullets, let's say 20, let's say 120. We can also do magazine bullets, which let's say 20. Okay, so one thing to note, I'm going to edit a little bit the item manager asset. I have my test weapon inside a folder that is inside the resources. With that in mind, I can say, and I can go onto my item manager, all my init. As you can see, it takes every item it finds inside the all items and adds them into a dictionary so we can access them by ourselves. Okay, so before we do that, I will say all items equals resources dot load all, and the path is going to be, I think it's simply going to be items. As, hold on, okay, all items, and this needs to be, I think we don't need this, type of item. Okay, so it's going to assign every type of item inside this. Let's see what the error is. Convert Unity object to we need to cast them as an object first, so we get it an array. Cut all of that. Oops. Paste it here. Then we're going to do a for each object O in objects. Let's turn this into a list. Notice that I'm not initializing the list because this is a scriptable object and it doesn't need to be initialized. It's already serialized. So if O is item, just an extra step, all items dot add, cast it as an item O. Okay. So with that, we now don't have to actually just drag and drop the items we create inside the scriptable object. Now on my controller, inside my init, I want to know the current runtime item I have. To do that, I need to implement the namespace for sharp accent items, which is our item framework. And just for now, I'm just going to say runtime item current weapon. Okay, on start, I'm going to be passing a weapon ID. Right now, I'm going to hardcode this to test weapon. Then, even if you're not local, or if you're local, doesn't really matter, we still need to know your current weapon, and that will be current weapon items manager dot singleton dot get runtime item weapon ID. And actually that's the instance of the item. So we will say, instead of get runtime item, let's create, we're just going to say create item instance instead. Let's see, where is this controller? Get item instance, where now we're going to be passing the weapon ID. Okay, so far it's not much happening, but we do have a runtime item with an instance ID, which means each player will have his own weapon and it will refer to the base, and we will have access to the base item, which also means we can actually say current bullets in here, and we can also do a reload or current bullets in the chamber, and we can also say maximum bullets carrying, so how many bullets you're actually carrying. On reload then we could say base item dot or current bullets. Well, first of all we should say if max bullets carrying is over the base item dot bullets. We need to cast this as a weapon first of all. That's because we can use the base, we can use the items for something else, not just weapons. So that will be weapon dot magazine bullets. So if we have more, then we're going to simply say our current bullets is w dot magazine bullets, and our maximum bullets carrying will be w dot magazine bullets. Let's do this. Else we need to find the difference, and that will be integer difference maximum bullets carrying minus, or well, magazine bullets minus the maximum bullets difference, and then our current bullets are going to be the difference. Okay, now we will say also I have bullets, and that will be your current bullets now. Okay, so magazine bullets, current bullets minus magazine bullets. Actually, you know what, screw that, we'll just do that later. So magazine bullets, maximum bullets carrying, current bullets, and now that's the difference, and maximum bullets carrying will be 0. On init of this, we're simply going to do this on reload ourselves. So on inside the controller, once we do get our weapon, we're going to force a reload. Then when we are shooting, there's one thing that we can do. First of all, we need to know the fire rate, which we can get from the base item, but we can also save the last time we actually fired. So last fired is going to be a private method, so we're going to use a bool can fire. We're going to pass this time, but I think we don't even need that, because we could really say if last fired minus time dot real time since startup, or actually we need the opposite way. Let's make this, if this is greater than the base item dot fire rate. We need to cast this as a weapon as well, so we could do this here as well. Okay, then on your controller, if you are shooting and if current weapon dot can fire, then you're actually firing. Okay, save that. I think that should take care most of the work. We do have our item. It has a fire rate of 0.1. We have magazine bullets. We have all of this. And one thing that we can actually add as well is the bullets. But let's test this first. Let's see, no errors. And as you can see, we can fire with a fire rate of 0. No, we're still firing every time because on our runtime item, we're actually only checking the fire rate. So that should do public void shoot, where the last fired will be time real time since startup, and current bullets minus. Okay, obviously we can also check here if current bullets greater than 0. Otherwise return false. Okay, so current bullets minus. Okay, close that. Now we should be shooting. Yeah, we forgot to assign this. Okay, and one more thing that we forgot to do, another with the same key, that's inside the item manager asset. We need to be clearing the all items. Okay, and since we need to clear that, we can basically just set this up as non-serialized. Okay, and when we actually shoot on our controller, we can say current weapon dot shoot. Then that will have instances to the runtime, to the actual model we're going to be using later. We don't have one yet. Okay, let's set this up. Let's say what this is. All items clear. Let's make this then a new. Let's initialize that. As you can see, these aren't really, this is just some things, small things we forgot, nothing really matter. Okay, and now we're shooting with an actual fire rate. And now I am out of bullets. Okay, perfect. So that's actually shooting. That takes care of the shooting, but since we are here, let's also add the reload. And on our controller, let's do the same way we're doing everything else. For example, if you are shooting, let's start with false, first of all, although that's not going to change. Is shooting, and let's make this is reloading. For right now, it's the same logic. Well, I'm just going to use a get key now. So I don't have to assign an axis. We're going to be using mobile control, so this doesn't really matter. So if you're not shooting, if is reloading, current weapon, reload. It's not a condition, it's just a method. Then on reload, you can say well, for now we can just do this, to be honest. It doesn't matter. or anything else. We'll fix them later. Hit play. Okay, you can see all of that. Then I'm going to reload. Of course, you can't really see that what I'm doing, but I am firing. And I'm actually reloading. Okay, so that takes care of shooting and reloading and handling all the bullets. So that's it for this part. As always, you know what to do. Like, subscribe, and if you like to see more stuff, more videos, more series, more of everything, of course we're going to continue this and make it till we somewhat release it. Then consider supporting my Patreon, and we can continue making all of these nice things, because all this takes time, and I'm pretty sure we are actually going to try and make this into a game as well. So I'll see you on the next one.